identify themselves?
Absolutely, we'll go ahead and do that now if you want to, or you want to bring that one at a time. We'll identify as we come up. Yes.
Okay.
That'll be fine. Let me do two things. Let me slow down and be brief if I can. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman. Thank you, members, for being here. You know, we continuously say that medical marijuana has no value and that it's not medicine. Yet in the year 2009, stimulus money from our tax dollars, from John Yarmouth and from Mitch McConnell, went to All-Trans Pharmaceuticals to do research on a medical marijuana patch right here in the state of Kentucky. So there are things going on. It is, the cat's out of the bag. Marijuana is medicine. It's a forbidden medicine. Here's a brand new article from MSF. Hope for autistic children might lie in medical marijuana. The study released in April shows that cannabinoids, which are found in cannabis, might help treat autism. While more research is needed, autism groups are hopeful about the possibilities of the medicinal marijuana. Many children with autism are already given cocktails of drugs that may be even stronger than marijuana, with serious side effects and with limited results. Here's from National Institute of Drug Abuse, National Institute of Health. What about medical marijuana? This is for teens. This is a teen magazine right here. What about medical marijuana? They asked. It's a little teen question and answer. Well, 20 states and the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana for medicinal use. There are a few reasons why it hadn't been approved. One's because of the prohibition on studying it. Since the discovery of the cannabinoid system, we're telling teens that the discovery of the cannabinoid system, cannabinoid receptors in the body that bind the THC and the chemicals that act on these receptors, scientists are actively looking for ways to use this system for medicinal purposes. So there is some medicinal use we know. Here's the National Cancer Institute. No, I mean, that's the National Cancer Institute. I'll make all these available if you want more paper to doodle on while I sit here. The first cannabinoid receptors were identified in the brain. The second ones have been identified in 1993. These CB receptors, they're natural killer cells that suggest possible roles in helping with immunity problems. And the cannabinoids have been identified and appear to have a role in pain modulation, control of movement, feeding behavior, and memory. Was at the National Cancer Institute. Here's Science Daily, Harvard research. The active ingredient in marijuana cuts lung cancer tumor growth in half, study shows. The active ingredient in marijuana cuts tumor growth in common lung cancer in half and significantly reduces the ability of the cancer to spread, says researchers at Harvard University. Here's PubMed.gov, which you've never been there. It's quite a receptacle of all the studies that are being done in the United States and around the world on any kind of medication. PubMed.gov, our government runs this one. Clinical endocannabinoid deficiency. Can this concept explain therapeutic benefits of cannabis in migraine, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, and other treatment-resistant conditions? Conclusion. Migraine, fibromyalgia, IBS, and related conditions display common clinical, biochemical, and pathosociological patterns that suggest an underlying clinical endocannabinoid deficiency that may be suitably treated with cannabinoid medicines, and that'd be medical marijuana. Here's the coup d'état. Here's where we are right here. The hypocrisy of our government, and Sanjay Gupta talked about that quite substantially in his program the other night, Weed. He talked about the hypocrisy of position. He talked about accepting the government's official position on that for the last 40 years without looking at the science. The government holds the patent for medicinal marijuana. There's a copy of this in all of your pamphlets there. This is a U.S. patent number. This is from the patent office. This is from the patent and trademark. Cannabinoids have been found to be antioxidant properties. This newfound property makes cannabinoids useful in the treatment of, I don't know what that is right there. Then the oxidation-associated diseases such as ischemic, bad blood flow, age-related, inflammatory, autoimmune diseases. It goes on and on. The cat is actually out of the bag. One of the wisest men in the world one time said, everybody's story sounds true until the next person comes forward and tells their story. For 40 years, we have had a taboo about talking about medicinal marijuana, talking about marijuana in this country. We've been feared. We've been taught to fear it. We've been taught to kowtow to it, and the cat's out of the bag. I'm so happy to have several people here with me. This is Jaime Montilla. He's with Kentuckians for Medical Marijuana, and he's going to introduce our guest speakers that are here with us today. And most importantly, Irvin Rosenfield. Irvin Rosenfield. Not only do we hold the federal patent for the uses of cannabinoids, we also have a patient that receives federal marijuana under the Compassionate Medicine Act, 1982.
Before you start, my family raised marijuana in the Second World War, and prior to that, but they found out they were smoking the wrong units. So,
wrong.
So if you'll go ahead and proceed.
Thank you.
Like Perry stated, my name is Jaime Montilla. I'm here to represent Kentucky citizens that choose to use cannabis as an alternative medication to all the pharmaceuticals that we've been allowed to use here. We are here to start the conversation and represent thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Kentucky citizens that want to do this, that want to have safe access to this safe medication and proven medication. Like Perry stated on, we gave you a handout of the patent. That patent states that cannabis is good for Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, autoimmune disease, AIDS, and it goes on to state so many different things that it's been found by science to help. And the topic that I want to touch on, and I would request that you guys look up as citizens of Kentucky and family members of somebody that might be in pain, is to look up Sanjay Gupta's special. We have a poster over here regarding the special. He brought it up. He broke the topic at the national level. He spoke about it. He actually apologized about his views on the use of cannabis for medical purposes. He broke the topic. He broke the taboo. You know, it's time that we talk about this here at the state level through protect the patients that choose to use it. So with that being said, we have a couple of speakers that want to give their testimony, and I'm going to give plenty of time to them. If you guys pay attention to the presentation here, this is silent show of support for medical marijuana. They're all patients that choose to, or that want to have this legalized, and this is their way that they get to voice their opinion. So without any more delay, I would like to introduce you guys to a gentleman here by the name of Irvin Rosenfield. He is one of the last 4 remaining medical marijuana patients across the U.S. He receives his medicine every single month from the federal government and has done so since 1982. So without any more delay, here's Mr. Irvin Rosenfield.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the great state of Kentucky. One quick question. With a show of hands, committee, would you please raise your right hand if you all pay federal taxes? How many people pay federal taxes up here? Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for paying for my medicine for the last 30 years. My name is Irvin Rosenfield, and I have a severe bone tumor disorder. In 1963, I was diagnosed with multiple congenital cartilaginous exostosis and told bone tumors on the ends of most long bones of the body, and told there was a good chance that I wouldn't outlive my teenage years. Well, I had numerous operations, took numerous narcotics and drugs during that time, and I survived. I wanted to try college. I'm from Southern Virginia, by the way, okay? So I'm a country boy, and I feel real comfortable here in Kentucky, just to let you know. I wanted to try college. I went to college in 1971 in Miami. And there, of course, drugs were prevalent, and people were using illegal drugs. And I couldn't understand why people were using illegal drugs when here I had to take all these legal drugs. Well, I wouldn't give in to peer pressure, so I didn't smoke marijuana, and I wasn't making friends. I gave in to peer pressure after 30 days, and I started smoking. And it did nothing to me. It's pure garbage. About the 10th time I did it, I was playing a game of chess. And I hate chess. And I sat for 30 minutes. And it was the first time in 5 years I'd sat for more than 10 minutes. Normally I'd sit for 10 minutes and stand for 10 minutes. And I thought, what way did I take all the narcotics? I had morphine, I had Quaalude, I had Valium. You name the prescription, I had it, legally. And it dawned on me, I'd taken a pill for 6 hours. Well, then how could I sit for the first time in 5 years? And just then, the person handed me the joint. It was my turn. I looked at this piece of garbage and thought, this is the only thing I've done differently. I've smoked this garbage. Because to me, that's all cannabis was, marijuana. I didn't know about cannabis then. So I thought maybe this might have some medicinal value. And this was 1971, the fall of 71. Well, I called my great uncle, who was at one point head of pediatrics at Johns Hopkins. I called my regular uncle, who taught pediatrics at Yale. I called my oldest sister, who was head of nuclear medicine at Duke. I told her what happened. And we researched it. Lo and behold, we found that cannabis was used in this country legally from 1850 to 1941. Manufactured by all the major pharmaceuticals, Merck, Eli Lilly, mostly in tincture form. Used for many different disorders, but prevalently for muscle relaxant, anti-inflammatory, and for pain. Well, voila, that's what it was doing for me. I tried it, I experimented with it, and it was the best medicine for me. But again, to use marijuana in 1972, I was considered a criminal. Okay, and my friends were getting busted. I knew it was only a matter of time until I got busted. And I didn't ask for my bone disease. All I asked was for the best medicine possible. That's all anybody cares about. So I decided the federal government was the one who outlawed it. The federal government should be the one to supply it. So I went back to Virginia, my home state, and I took on the federal government. Now, not many people It took me 10 years, but I won. Okay, I convinced the federal government that my bone disorder was best served by using medical cannabis. So they started supplying me this tin can of cannabis. Normally I have 300 cigarettes in here, and I go through this every 25 days and have for over 30 years. 30 years. You're going to have people over the next several months that are going to talk about the benefits of cannabis and how good it is, and they might have used it some, maybe not a lot. Then you're going to have people talk about how bad it is, and they probably didn't use it at all. Okay, I'm here to tell you that I'm living proof. 30 years of using it legally, 42 overall. If there was any detrimental side effects of this medicine, wouldn't you think I would show it? Okay, now I'm a financial consultant in Fort Lauderdale, which is a very stressful job, spending other people's money, but I do that. On weekends, I teach disabled people how to sail adaptive sailboats in Coconut Grove in Miami. I'm able to do this because I have the right medicine. Without the right medicine, if I were still alive, I most likely would be homebound on disability, a drain on society. How many people in this state are homebound, a drain on society, on disability, because they have a devastating disorder where if they could just get the right medicine, they may be able to live a productive life like I do and not be taxing your state. So I came all the way from Fort Lauderdale to try to help your patients in this state. I've traveled into many states. Now the program I'm under was shut down by George Bush Sr. in 1992. There were 13 of us that were grandfathered in. A bunch of those were AIDS patients. They didn't have the AIDS cocktails they do today, and they died. So there were 4 of us left in the country. I'm the longest surviving. One has MS, lives in Iowa. Another one has a disorder called Nail-Patella syndrome, lives in Iowa, and they can't leave their house. They're that sick. And then we have one woman in Oregon who has glaucoma. And that's it. We're the only 4 people in the United States that is legally allowed to possess marijuana in this country. I've got 2 Supreme Court rulings on my side that said that the only people legally allowed to possess this is anybody with a federal prescription, which is what I actually have. Here is my actual prescription, just like any other prescription, whether it be for insulin, whether it be for antibiotics, it's a prescription. The doctor's name's on there. It says smoke 10 per day, 10 cigarettes per day, and it's got the pharmacy, it's got the pharmacy name, it's got his DEA number. So this is a prescription. This is real. The federal government can say that Schedule 1 has no medical benefit, but yet here it is, real. They've been giving me this for over 30 years for medical benefit, and it's worked. It's worked. So you know, when somebody has a devastating disease, like I said, all they care about is getting the best medicine possible and hopefully the best physicians to treat them. Well, I've got the best physician to treat me, and I've got the best medicine to treat myself. But you've got patients behind me that are very law-abiding citizens. But guess what? They're criminals in your state. They're breaking your state law. They are criminals. Now, do we really want to lock up a patient because they are supposedly using a plant to help with their medicine? I don't think so. I don't think that's what we need to do. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't sleep better at night knowing some of these people are behind bars. So the idea is this: whether you pass a law or not, your citizens are going to do it. They are doing it no matter what because they have no choice. They found something that works. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to say, hey, we're not criminals. We've got a disease. We've got a problem. This medicine works for us, but we're not criminals. So what do? You change the law. You get the law changed. That's why we're here. Okay? What did I do? I was raised a good, upstanding person in Virginia, and marijuana is illegal. So what did I do? I took on the federal government. Okay? I did it the right way. And that's what these people are trying to say. They're trying to say, hey, look, the federal government won't help us. Okay? And we need help. So we're going to come to our state, and we're going to ask our state, help us. Okay? And we'll help you. We'll help carve a law out that's going to be as best can be run so it doesn't harm the state police, it doesn't harm kids, it's controlled, but yet, again, right now, there is no control. You've got the drug cartels, controlling it. And what do? I mean, do they ask how old you have to be to buy drugs in this country? No. They'll sell it to you. Do they say how much it's going to cost? No, because they want to make as much money as possible. So what I'm hoping by being here is that y'all can put a face and a voice to the situation. Say, I'm not the only one who needs this. That there are thousands upon thousands of people in your state that need this. Look at me. Look how helpful it's been for me. Look at the people behind me and say, well, you know something? If we could help them and make them better, productive members of society, why shouldn't we? So I came here 2 days ago from Fort Lauderdale. I'll be flying back tonight. I'll be back in my office tomorrow morning, trading stocks and bonds. And by the way, all my clients, of course, know that I use this and applaud me for coming here to try to help patients. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here, to educate your state, and I hope that y'all will follow through and try to help the people that you see behind me and all the other people that were too sick to be here, and say to them, you know, we understand, let's work together, and let's get a law that we all can live with.